All right. Guess who's back again? If they don't know, go and tell them. Go and tell them, like they know as soon as we walk in. All right. Here we go again. Cheers. You are here again with the Afro One, Afro Stone. And once again, we're here by the fire. And like you always know, and if you're new, this content's for growth. It's positivity, it's to learn, it's to grow with one another, it's to challenge one another in a respectful way. So, thank you for tuning in. And we always and always will have a good one today. Check it. Cheers. Now, y'all know me. I'm a poet, I write. I journal. I don't journal as much as I should, but I journal nevertheless. And for me, I'll say my poetry is also part of my journaling as well. And this is also another form of way of how I journal as well, is I write my ideas, my thoughts, and everything on paper. And for me, I break things down and structure it so I can have an understanding of what I'm talking about, what I'm observing, and what information I'm gathering in the world and on myself as well. And with that, I have been working on this and talked about it a little bit here and there in my content. And I got my ideas and I got it on paper and I structured it and I'm here to share it with you today. This is my, as I'll say, my Afro perspective on how I see the world. And we are on a journey, every single one of us. We're on our own journey, our own path. And when I'm studying and I'm observing, I'm looking at people in the world and looking at their behaviors and also evaluating my own behavior as well in that process and understanding where they're at in their life, what stage, what do they live by. Like, you just kind of like break it all down. I start to understand and look at things in a way where I see things in stages and in the way that you exist, if that makes sense. So I have created the stages that every human being goes through in life, and I have created their state of existence. So one is called the state of existence, and the other is called the stages of the soul. And we're going to get into that. I'm going to share with you, man. This is all that I came up with out of my mind, out of my head, out of my afro, and I put it pen on paper, and I'm here to share it with you. And we're going to get into it. So, like I said, we're all on a journey, and I believe that most of us are on a journey and we're not exactly sure where we're going, where we want to go, or why we're in certain patterns. Like, have you ever been in a situation where your friends or your family member have to point out a pattern that you are in, or some bad habits you have that you wasn't aware of? So there's just these things and there's these moments that happens in our life and we don't understand. And then when something happens significant, we get out of that rut. Like, we get out of it, we wake up and we're like, why was I doing that? Why was I living like that? And now we're just, alive and start to really focus our life on something, specific. And so I would start off to say this. Where this came from and how I started on this, path of creating this, I've noticed while thinking, everybody in TV, internet, everywhere, they're talking about find your purpose. Like, find your purpose. And for me, I was like, I always understood, I always I always had a good sense of like what my purpose was or is, and but the thing is like I pretty much just knew what I wanted to do, right? And I wanted to be impactful in a huge way. See, we buy a real fire. This ain't just no fake content. This is a real fire we buy. Like I said, you're bonding with the fire with the Afro one. Let's do this. And so, like I said, people always talk about purpose. Find your purpose, find your purpose. And for me, I always understood it, but then when I really start to think about it, because I remember when I was in college, and being in college, I noticed many people didn't know what their major was going to be, and they kind of just picked one because they needed to pick a major, right? And I'm like, how you not know what you want to do? It was, for me at that age, I just didn't understand how people didn't know what they wanted to do. I knew I wanted to be a football player. And if that didn't work, I was going to be an architect. And it's funny because then I just stopped wanting to be an architect out there. And it's funny because now I'm here, I'm a poet. And now I'm here, I'm creating content. So life is very interesting. But nevertheless, when I started really thinking about that, when you talk about purpose, it's always like something big and huge, like deep, like you're gonna make a huge impact on your society, the world, or something. Like your purpose to become the president of the United States, or to become the CEO that does these big things, that become innovative to help the community out in a way, to get more jobs, or like your purpose to be this great musician that inspires others. Like people always think of, like, it's always like a major thing. But what I've noticed is that people in life, most people do not want to be in that position to create such an impact and to have that big, huge responsibility. And so when I noticed that, I was like, well, then it's not for everybody, because I even thought about this. As growing up, they say, oh, we're going to teach everybody how to be leaders, like teach them how to be a leader. But everybody doesn't want to be a leader. And as in my adulthood and all the jobs that I've taken, most people don't want to be the manager or take that manager position. They don't. Even me at point, like even now, I don't want to be a manager. I don't want that responsibility. Not because I can't handle it, I can't do it, because I'm doing other things like this, right? But I bring that up because we all can't be leaders, and that's fine. And you just have to understand, if you do follow somebody, make sure that you're following somebody that's valid and stand for something that aligns with what you stand for, and they're not fooling you. And it's not wrong, and there's nothing wrong with somebody following somebody. It's just wrong when you blindly following somebody, or you following them like they're God or something, like the second coming, the third coming, whatever, however you want to put it, right? And that's just how I look at it. Like, there's people that just play a role. And then I said, role. People are trying to get people to find a purpose, but most people are not trying to make that impact or want that responsibility. So I just figure out your role in life. And so when you think about sports and you think about basketball, you understand that the franchise players is the franchise players, the two main players, or the big three, or however you want to play it. But the whole team is not that. There's that one player that's the franchise player. And then there's another secondary player that, Batman, Robin type of deal. But other than that, everybody else is the role players, the players to fill in, and as Shaq would say, the others. But he would always say the others are always very important. They are. And think about in life, as we look at the climate and we look at people pushing their agendas, whether it's on the Republican side, Democratic side, whether you're woke or conservative, whatever you're into. People are pushing their narratives, pushing their way of life, and when they're on their journey and they're in the lead, like they're up front on battle lines, however you want to look. You can say battle lines as all the craziness that's going on now, right? But they're also the players that's not there, but they play a role in society. Are in the cause, right? That's not doing the big things, but you need them to do those things where they're getting signatures or they mailing these things out, whatever. To get off of like something political and that, think of it like this. In a restaurant, you work for a restaurant or bar or something, you understand, you got the front desk, they're very important. Now there's a CEO, they're the main CEO, the manager, they're managing everything. And then you have the bartenders, you have the servers. Servers and bartenders are very important. But what's really very important is the dishwasher. If the dishwasher's not there, he's not washing the dishes, that messes up for the line cooks, the chef, to get the food out on time. It just messes up things. Even like, it's important to have great servers and great bartenders. But if you don't have a great bar back or a great busser, then it just messes up the flow on everything. And so when I say that in the ecosystem of life, when it's talking about finding your role in life, there's these roles and positions in life where it's you either work in that fast food restaurant. If nobody was working at fast food restaurant, you wouldn't be able to get something real quick, right? Because there's people eating it, right? All right, let's talk about something else, whether garbage man. They're not picking up our garbage, then we're gonna have some issues. The janitors at school, if they're not cleaning out the school, that could be something bad and major for the students at that school. So it's just like there's always these roles in life that's very significant, but we don't look at it in a major way because it's not impacting the whole society in such a way where it makes a big change, a big impact. But nevertheless, it holds the whole ecosystem strong and steady flows the way it's supposed to flow. Because without, as they will say, the little people, but I wouldn't call it the little people. You could call them the others, like in basketball. But without them, you're not winning championships. Without them, you're not having a successful society. You're not. So that's where this all came down to me understanding it. And I bring it up when I'm talking about what I call the stages of the soul. The stages of the soul is the stages that you're at in life, far as in kind of, in a sense, your mindset, your experience. Like I'll read it out for you because I wrote it down. So, the stages of the soul is about the journey of Okay, let me start over. The stages of the soul is about the journey of progression of the inner self over time. It's like a path or sequence of stages that you move through as you grow and evolve. It's about your development and the roles or purpose you might find along the way. It's more about where you are in your personal growth and awareness. That's the stages of life. To sum that up, pretty much is just focusing on the journey of growth over time. That's the stages of life. And then I'll give you all the 4 stages, because it's 4 of them. The first one will be lost. Lost is a state of confusion or disorientation. The soul is unsure of the direction or lacking clarity and purpose. Now, lost, you could look at it in different ways. Not just lost like I don't know where I'm going, but lost as in you may be going in the wrong direction. But think of it like this. As you are a kid, you're lost. I don't know what I want to do when I grow up. I'm not sure. I just know I want to make money, right? You're lost. If you don't have a direction, like, no, I want to be this, and I'm going to strive to be that. Like, I'm going to be an accountant. I'm striving to be an accountant. I'm going to be a lawyer. I'm striving to be a lawyer. Like, if you know, I'm going to be a dancer. You know what you're doing, you're not lost. But when you don't, and you're trying to figure it out, you're lost. You're not sure where you're at, where you're going. You're lost. You're like, what's direction to inner self? Where am I going? Now, the next stage, and that's, you know, that's the normal stage everybody goes through, being lost. It's like, you know, you're growing up as a kid, a teenager, and you're trying to figure out the path you're going. You pick a path, and then you change your mind. You pick another path, and you change your mind. It's just a normal thing. And then we have the wanderer. The wanderer. The wanderer is an interesting stage to be in. It's the soul. The soul is more adaptable and flexible. It doesn't have a defined purpose, but navigates through life by taking on different roles and experiences. It's like a journey of exploitation and adaptation, sometimes without a concrete goal. Now, wanderers, I've been in the stage. You're kind of just, yeah, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna go on in this career path. I'm going on this career path. I'm gonna go to school to go do this. I'm gonna take this job. They're wandering from here to there, to here to there, to here to there. Now I live in this area. 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 Like, you're just wondering about in life, and you're not, you kind of have idea of what you want to do and ideas of what you want to do, but you're not focused on one, and you're not just pursuing that one goal or direction. That's what it's like being a wanderer. If you've been like that, where you was like, oh yeah, I'm about to become a cook, and you go to school, you get it, blah blah blah. You work for this company, and then you stop, and then you're not working as a cook no more, and now you're a wildland firefighter, and you're doing wildland firefighting, and then you have to stop that for a couple of seasons, and not like it's and trust me, this has been my life for sure. I knew where I wanted to go, but things happen as far as, okay, I can't continue in sports. And this happens a lot with people like being in sports and stuff like that. They like trying to make it to the league, become professional, like myself, and then once that don't happen, then you're like, okay, then what's next? Or like, what should I do now? Especially when I told you, I said I wanted to be an architect. And then after that, I just like, you know what, I don't want to be an architect no more. So what do I want to be? And then I was like, I want to be a journalist. I changed that. And then so it's just, man, I've been a lot of things, you know. So that's a wanderer. You wander off into different careers, different ideas, different approach, different directions, different relationships, different friendships, different everything, different sceneries, different lifestyles. That's the wanderer, you know. And the wanderer is like, a lot of times, wanderer really is more controlled by their circumstances. Like, I'm working this job because I really need this job and I need to make some money right now. But it's not a job I necessarily want to do. But you know what? It's actually pretty cool. I'm doing well in it. So I'm going to focus on this. And you do. But you really don't want to do it, and you eventually veer off of that direction. You go into another direction. Because deep down inside, it's not your calling. It's not you. It's not the role you want to play in life, and it's not your purpose. Now, the next two stages are the stages you want to be in. That's role and purpose, what I mentioned before. Now, role is very important. Very important, like I mentioned before, and I explained. So, what I have here, role is finding one's place in the world. The soul contributes meaningfully to society in more defined supportive roles. These are the people who help maintain the balance of the large system, offering stability and support. Offering stability and support contributes meaningfully to society. It's very important to find a role in life. A role is very important. To me, I feel it's more important to find a role in life than your purpose. That's how I feel, especially finding a role first. Because if you find your role, I'll give you an example. So, say if you decided your role in life was gonna be working as a flight attendant. So that's your role. You choose to work as a flight attendant. You like it, you think it's cool, you're traveling, you're doing all these things. Now, that becomes your job. You work there 5 years, 10 years. Like, it's your job, it's your lifestyle, everything that revolves around being a flight attendant, and that lifestyle is you, right? Now, the beauty of that, like, you've been in a career or a field as a field for so long, and that's your role. The dope thing that comes from that is that you may be the person in that field that comes up with some idea to be innovative. Like, you're a flight attendant, and you're like, I've been doing this for years. Why haven't they never did this to this, that, to help the guests feel more comfortable in this way, or help things? Like, you become innovative in that way. And then you start to live out your purpose. Because then you had that experience, and then you start this whole thing where you make something change or impactful that changes the whole flight attendant game. Or you come up with some other ideas to make it, like, you just come up with things like in your field to change your field to make it better going forward. That's the beauty of having a role and securing a role for a long period of time. Because it's like, if you think of anything in any industry, whether it's like the restaurant industry, hotel industry, like, just think of a hotel industry, maybe how it started. And then they're just learning all these things as they go, like, oh shoot, you know, bathroom service got to be better, okay. We got to have more sheets and stuff like that. We got to have extra sheets, like, certain type of sheets. And like, they just come up with all these things as they go and learn. And as a person that's in a field for a long period of time, like if you're like a plumber and you just understand plumbing so well, and you've been a plumber for 20 years, and then you say, hey man, I can create something that's going to help with the drains and draining them out. You become that, then that matches up to like a purpose. And then you could be like, I hear in this country or in India or somewhere, they don't have a plumbing system, so I'm gonna go there and I'm gonna start a plumbing system and help that community out, because you're so knowledgeable. You be like, all they gotta do is this and that, and then now you're living your purpose from your role. So that's why having a role is important. It's like, big things happen, things change because of, as they say, the little guy. It's that person that has that experience that comes up with the idea, and then they present it to, you know, the elites or the person that has the money or something like that, or that's in position to help to make the change. That's how we function as a community and as a society, you know. But that's like going from stage to stage if you think about it. And then I go over purpose real quick, where purpose is the soul has a clear, impactful mission. It's about making a significant difference, whether on a personal, community, or even global scale. The soul aligns with its deeper purpose and creates meaningful change. That's purpose. Like, there's a change, there's something meaningful. Like I explained in the previous, if you're a plumber and that's your role, you're a plumber, and people are like, oh, you're just a plumber, like, yeah, whatever, but I live life, and I live a good life as a plumber. And then you live it so long, and then you create something, and you figure out, hey, if I go in this area where they don't have plumbing, I help them out, and then you change that society so big, then you're living out in a purpose. But before then, you're just living your role. But having a role, and having a role for a significant amount of time, and gaining that knowledge, because anything you do, you gain knowledge. If you focus on something, you're going to gain knowledge in that process. And if you're doing something for so long, as a plumber, flight attendant, server, garbage man, whatever, you're going to gain a lot of knowledge. And there may be a moment in time where you can help contribute into making a difference in that field, or just in life in general. So that's my stages of the soul, man. You're either lost, you're a wanderer, or you found a role, or you figured out your purpose. And so those are the stages, man. You transition from it. And sometimes you may have a role in life, and you've been this doctor for so long, and then next thing you know it, you don't want to play that role no more, and you don't want to live out that purpose no more. And then you go back and you start to become lost because you just don't want to do it no more. And so sometimes you could be into your purpose and get lost. You could be in your role and get lost, or become a wanderer. And you're just like, I'm a doctor, I'm dope, but I'm wandering from here to here and there because I don't want to be a doctor. And then after that, next thing you know it, you like, you know what, I'm gonna get into stand-up comedy. And then now that's your new role, that's your new purpose, and so on. So that's the stages of soul, and that's me breaking it down for you. You guys let me know how you feel and how you think, what's your thoughts on my breakdown of the stages of the soul, of being lost, being a wanderer, having a role, and pursuing your purpose. Cheers on that. Now the next, I'll tell you, the next thing, and these ideas correlate with each other. So you have the stages of the soul, and then now you have your state of existence. This is your state of existence. State of existence is more about the present conditions, or the way you're living your life in the moment. It's about how you feel and engage with life right now. Whether you're stuck, drifting, misdirected, on a journey, or on a quest. It's more about the current state of being and how you experience life day to day. That's the state of existence. And to sum that up, the state of existence is just focus on the present conditions and how you're experiencing life right now. So in the moment in your life, in your present life, how are you experiencing it? Now, I mentioned all 5 of them in there, and I'm gonna list them. The first one is stuck, drifting, misdirected, on a journey, or on a quest. Those are the states of existence. You're either stuck, drifting, misdirected, on a journey, or on a quest. Now, I'll go over them. First one, stuck. Being stuck is uncertain, no clear direction. It's like kind of like a plateau, or like you just don't know what's the next move. What's the like? It's just like maybe you've been so successful, you're stuck because you're like, what's next? It could be something like that, or maybe it's like, man, things have been happening so bad, and I finally just got this house, and I'm just stuck. I don't know what to do. I'm just gonna be working this job, and I've been working this job, and it's been keeping me afloat. And I like where I'm at. I like the comfort that I have, but I'm stuck, and I don't feel like I'm living. I don't feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to. I'm living out my purpose. I don't feel like, I don't know. That's stuck. That's being stuck. And so that's in your moment. You just feel you just feel stuck. You feel like you're not going anywhere. Whether it's success or whether it's fulfillment, happiness, whatever you want to say. You're stuck because you're not getting something out of life that you may be craving. Now drifting, letting circumstances guide you, lacking control. And it's just like the situations of life is really directing your life, not you. You're not choosing, this is what I'm going to do and I'm going to do it. No, you're just like, I got to get a job right now, so I just settle for this job. And then like, something else happened, and now you got to settle for another job, or you got to stay at the job because you wanted to go back to school, but you're not going to go back to school. And then, so there's just all these ways of how life just drifts you apart. And if you're thinking, yeah, it's very similar to The Wanderer, but later on I'll explain how it's how these two ideas separate are different from each other. So that's drifting. You drift here, there, drifting. Third one, misguided or misdirected. I would say you're misdirected, meaning you're not going the direction you should be going in life. Living in a way that's not genuine and authentic to yourself, fooling yourself, like that's misdirected. I'll give you some examples because there's a variety of ways you could be living the wrong direction of life. One simple, easy way people know is like you grew up without your family really taking care of you, without your father or something, and you're not sure what you can be or what you can do because you don't have no clear example, and you just go out and do crime and stuff like that, and you're not going in the right direction of life. You're not living out your own true talents that you have. Another could be like you have your parents that are in your life, but you're living out your parents' dreams. Your parents' dreams. Not your dreams, your parents' dreams. And so that gets real, like they want you to be the successful lawyer because they want to be a lawyer. They wanted you to be the successful athlete because they had an injury or something. And you do it because you want to please them, you want to get their approval, but it's not really what you want to do. They experience you to be an entrepreneur, but it's not what you want to do. And so, a lot of people go through this. You'll see a lot of people, comedians, where they're like, my mom and dad wanted me to be a doctor, but I stopped and I just started comedian. I had a friend, he was in like a paralegal or something like that. He was making good money at the time, and he started working in the restaurant business, making less money than he was before, to support his acting career. So when you're misguided, when you're misdirected, you're not heading in the right path, and it's not authentic to you. You may be good at it, but it's not what really makes you fill your void, bring you fulfillment, make you feel happy, make you feel good. Like there's something that is not there. There's something missing. Let me see something real quick. Match Towns. All right. I work on sound. All right. So now, another one. I would say the next one. I would say is on a journey. Now, I have on a journey and on a quest. And you're probably like, what's the difference? Now, on a journey is embracing life, experiencing growth. No, on a journey is embracing life, growth, and experiences. So it's like you figure out your role in life, like I said on the stages, and you're like, I'm a nurse, and I go travel, and I enjoy the world. I go out, and I live this lifestyle that I live. Or, you're somebody that just so into health and stuff, like you're a personal trainer, and you're into health, and you live your life, you enjoy, you compete, you're doing things that you like. You're also being curious. You're being open. You're just living life. You're living a life way you choose the way you want to live it. You have control, and you're just experiencing the main important thing. You're experiencing, and you're growing from it. You're learning from it, and you're having some enjoyment of it. That's on a journey, and you face all the ups and downs. The way you face them, you meet to the challenges that comes your way, and you go through it. Life be life, and you go through your ups, you go through your downs, but nevertheless you figure it out, and you keep going, and you enjoy the journey. And then on a quest is different. On a quest is purposeful, goal oriented, driven, like your goal driven. On a quest is purposeful, goal driven, impactful. That's a quest. It's like there's a step by step to this. It's a mission. Like, it's like, this is the mission. We're gonna do this and we're gonna do that. Like, I'm gonna accomplish this. I'm gonna run this restaurant, and then I'm gonna open more chains and more chains, and you're just like step by step by step. See, when you're on a journey, there's no step by step. You're kind of just like enjoying it. You're like, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna have fun with this and this and that. Like you're just choosing what you're gonna do and what you're gonna get into. But on a quest, nah, this is not just choosing. This is just like there's strategic thought that's going into it. You're like, I'm gonna do this, and this is how I'm gonna get there, and it's gonna make an impact. On a journey, you're not making an impact. You're just enjoying yourself. You're making an impact in your life, like in the sense of like you're gaining experience. Or on a quest, nah, there's an endpoint. There's somewhere you're going. On a journey, you're going somewhere, but it's all fun and games, baby. So that's my state of existence, where you're either stuck, don't know where you're going, where to go, what to do. You're drifting, you're here, you're there, you're doing this career, you're in this career, you live in this area. You're misdirected, where you're not going the route that you should, your path that you should be going. And then you on a journey, you're experiencing life, the fullest of life. You're embracing it and you're growing from it. And then there's quest, where there's a mission. There's something that needs to be accomplished for a specific reason. And you just draw it out and you pursue it. So that's the state of existence. And so you could be thinking like, all right, what's the difference between the stages of the soul and the state of existence? So the stages of the soul, so put it like this. These are the stages. You could, because you're thinking like drifting and wanderer, it's like the same thing, right? All right, so let's put it this way. You can know your role. You could be in your role in life. I'll give you an idea. You could be in your role in life as a chef, and you're working at a dope restaurant, but you keep drifting from different restaurant to different restaurant to different restaurant. You see what I'm saying? Now you have your role. That's the stage. You figured out the role in your life you want to take. You haven't necessarily figured out your purpose, but you got your role. But you keep drifting from this to this and that. Then you can probably become lost after that. Be like, what am I going to do? I don't know what to do. I'm tired of just, you're not really taking control of your life. You see what I'm saying? And you can find a purpose, but it's not your purpose. You're misdirected. Like you're living out somebody else's purpose, whether it's your family member or something. You see what I'm saying? So you see what I'm saying? Like the stages of your state. I'm in a purpose. I'm in that stage. I figured out a purpose, but you're misguided, or you're on your purpose, but you're stuck. You see what I'm saying? Like I have my purpose. My purpose is to take better care of the environment, but you're stuck on what you're gonna do. So that's where you understand the difference. Like I said, it's the state of existence you're in at the present moment. The stage is like, in this stage in my life, like overall, like right now, like I know my role. I know my purpose. Like I figured that out. I'm not wandering and I'm not lost. But I can be drifting even though I know my purpose. I can be drifting if I still know my role. You see what I'm saying? So that's where it comes down to it. And once you align it, like far as your quest and your purpose, like you know your purpose, and now you're on a quest, then your life is just like, your discipline is like, you're just on point. You're like, nah, this is what I do. I don't get involved in this and that, and this and that. This is what I do. This is what I'm about. This is what I'm going to pursue. And I'm not going to let the outside distractions distract me. And just knowing your role and being on a journey aligns. You see what I'm saying? So that's where it goes. Like even you could kind of flip it where you're thinking of in the sense of you found your role and you're on a quest. like your role is you're a travel agent, and you also travel yourself, and you're on a quest to travel and to, like, you know, get others involved into traveling that never travel, and you make more money off of it, you get more experiences, you build more relationships, and then it actually becomes your purpose. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, that you're like, hey, I'm going to be able to get more people that's poor and the lower class to be able to travel and be able to get them for affordable rates and do some, like, you know, then it goes into your purpose. But you see what I'm saying? Like, it all aligns. When you go through those stages and you figure out your role, and you can always change your role, you figure out your purpose, and you can always change your purpose. Like, we're humans. We change our minds all the time. We do. So it's just normal. But your existence is what you're feeling in that present moment. Because you could be in your purpose, but you're stuck. Because you're like, damn, man, I'm doing everything I can to help my community out. You know, volunteering, doing things to stop the crime rate, but I'm stuck because nothing's really working out. Now you're stuck, but you found your purpose. You see what I'm saying? So that's to break it down to help you understand what's the difference between the state of existence and the stages of the soul. That's the difference, man. And so for all of you out there, just let me know how you feel about it, what you think from what I presented to you from my Afro perspective on how I view life and the stages of life and your existence in that state. Like, what do you think? Like, how you feel about it? Like, what's your thoughts? Do you agree with me? Do you have any more to add to it, or do you think some of it should be taken out? What you think, man? Just let me know, man. Like, we here by the fire, we learning, we growing. You know, the more we go, we sit here, we learn, we grow. The more my Afro grow. Hopefully. I want this to be like this big in the next year or two, but you know, anyways, but nevertheless, thank you for sitting here by the fire. My fire is almost burning out soon, and that just let me know this has been a good session, and the timing's been pretty right on this one. So I appreciate y'all coming with me live on this one. I did this one live. You know, there'll be times I have live, there'll be times I'll have a show where I just film it and edit. But either way, it's all love. I want to just let you guys know there's more coming up, more to come. I don't know if I don't remember if I said it earlier before the show, where I'm going to have some guests coming on, man, soon, very soon. Matter of fact, this week I'm having another guest. I'm having a guest coming on. We just need to make sure we worked out everything. And, you know, a fellow poet, one of my boys, Saint Germain. And then I believe it should be the following week. I'll have another poet, but also an actor. She's gonna be dope. And then I got some other individuals that I gotta get in contact and make sure we align those things right. There's gonna be more content coming this way. I'm gonna be shooting out a lot of content, you guys, and a lot of my Afro perspective on these things, man. Because I write these things, and for me, it's like these things that go in my head, I'm starting to write them and starting to like make sure I organize them and structure them. And now that I do that, I want to be able to present that and show that. Like, I'm gonna have the times where I present my Afro perspective, my ideas and thoughts, my way of looking at the world. I'm gonna present that to you, and then I'm gonna have those times where the books that I read, I'm gonna also bring that on here, and I'm gonna just go over it, and we're gonna talk about some of the things that I've read and how those things are dope, because I love reading books. Like, I believe how I got here to be doing things like this, because I always read books with a certain perspective and certain approaches in life, motivational books and different things like that on what you can do to better your life and live a more positive life, live a better life, to improve, to grow. And that's my thing. It's about growth. That's my thing. Growth. That's the goal is always growth. The goal is always growth. The intentions is always love. So, again, it's here with the Afro One. I thank you. As our fire goes out, it's always love and always will be love. Cheers. Afro out.